And so what's actually happening to a woman's hormones as she goes into perimenopause and then into menopause?
Yeah, so women's hormones cycle throughout their reproductive years. So starting at puberty, we start having fluctuating levels of estrogen and progesterone. Our testosterone increases, and then as we reach our end of our reproductive life, which is our perimenopause stage, where we're kind of winding down, our ovarian production of our estrogen, progesterone is starting to slow. We're not releasing eggs every month, and we're not getting that bump of progesterone and estrogen each month. So we start to notice symptoms. So the first symptoms that usually happen are associated with progesterone decline. That's usually the first hormone to drop because when we don't release an egg, there's no need for progesterone to increase. And so symptoms like anxiety, symptoms like insomnia, um, constipation is another big one with low progesterone. Most women don't put two and two together, but progesterone really helps with gut motility. And so even women before perimenopause, women who are cycling may notice that right before their period, they start to get a little constipated. And then when they get their period, they might get what's referred to as the period poops, where you have a little bit of diarrhea. And women will notice this all throughout their reproductive years, but a lot of women don't put two and two together to know that it's actually the hormones that are fluctuating and not necessarily something they ate. So that's really interesting. So progesterone is the first one to fall. Then we have estrogen. And when estrogen falls, estrogen is so important for the female health for our brain. So brain fog kicks in. We start to get loss of collagen. So starting at whatever age you enter menopause, the average age is 51, but most women will enter perimenopause 5 to 7 years before that. So this can be as early as the 30s for some women. Average is in the 40s, but your collagen will start to drop. So you'll start to notice more laxity in your skin, wrinkles, fine lines, things like that. Also joint pain, because estrogen is a lubricator. So it's really important for lubricating our joints. And you may notice you start to have joint pain, stiffness. Estrogen is also very important for not only brain health, but bone health and heart health. And then, of course, there's the vaginal dryness, painful sex, all the issues around the vaginal microbiome, including urinary tract infections, because estrogen is so important for supporting our lactobacillus, which is important for our gut health, but also our vaginal microbiome as well. So those are some of the big ones. Like I said, there's everything from tinnitus to high cholesterol to hair loss. There's so many symptoms of menopause, but specifically for gut health, our hormones are so important. And a lot of women notice as they reach their 40s, they start to notice they can't eat as many foods as they used to eat. They start to get cramping or bloating or digestive issues once they had their meal. And a lot of women will actually cut out whole food groups because they're afraid of what's going to happen to their digestion. And then also, a lot of my clients will say they actually avoid some social situations because they start to have a lot of uncontrollable gas. And it's really a quality of life thing that making sure we have that balance is so important. And there's a lot that we can do.
Yeah, for sure. So you mentioned three hormones: estrogen, testosterone, and progesterone. And so as women are going through this transition, you mentioned progesterone's dropping, estrogen's dropping. And oftentimes, even though it's kind of normal and natural for these hormones to drop, oftentimes progesterone drops more, right? Like a kind of a greater
It drops
or
first. Yeah. So
drops
progesterone will
first.
drop
Okay. Yeah.
first.
And so there
And
could be a
then,
larger gap
yeah,
between the estrogen and progesterone, and that can be a player in some of these symptoms as well, right?
absolutely. Hormones are all about balance. And so when our estrogen and progesterone is balanced with our testosterone as well, for women, we don't talk about testosterone a lot, but women have a good deal of testosterone in relation to the rest of their hormones. We just don't make quite as much as men,
Mhm.
but it's so important for our bodies. And there's things that are associated with low testosterone. One of the major things associated with low testosterone is going to be loss of energy, loss of sex drive, but also testosterone is really important for reducing inflammation,
Mm.
specifically in our gut. And so low progesterone or testosterone, I mean, can actually lead to leaky gut, increased intestinal permeability, which then down the line can lead to increased risk of autoimmune conditions. and much bigger issues down the road. So having healthy testosterone levels, so very important for women. But in addition, like even if your testosterone levels stay strong, if those are high in relation to your estrogen and progesterone because they've now dropped,
Mm,
now you can have issues like acne, hair loss, belly fat, things that you don't want as well. So we don't want to have high testosterone in relation to our estrogen and progesterone. We want everything to be balanced.
mm.
Same thing with estrogen. We don't want estrogen dominance. We want a balance of our estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone that hormones need. It's like Goldilocks and the three bears. They need to be not too much, not too little, but just right.
Yeah, that makes sense. And also, when women are younger, high testosterone is associated with PCOS, polycystic
Yes.
ovarian syndrome, as well. That's not what a woman's going to experience as she goes into menopause, but
But it
for
could be a
younger women.
similar scenario because with PCOS, women generally are having anovulatory cycles, meaning that they're
Mhm.
not ovulating, and that's causing them to have significantly decreased progesterone. And progesterone opposes testosterone, kind of keeps it in
Mhm.
line. And so these women are kind of experiencing in on a smaller scale, like actually on a larger scale for them, but on a smaller scale in perimenopause, it's a similar scenario for a lot of women as their progesterone drops, but their androgens stay
Mm.
level. It's different. It's really unique for a lot of women because you can have a woman who is 40 years old and she can have very, very low testosterone and her progesterone, estrogen haven't dropped yet. But conversely, you can have a woman who has very perfect testosterone, but her estrogen and progesterone have dropped so low that now she has those PCOS like symptoms.